Thank you for visiting our channel. Today I came out to show you guys XRS 4900 versus U5. Yes, they are both done by a company called Buzztv, and let's just show you the difference in little details to see which one will be higher and which one will be lower. Now for me, U5 wins because of that little remote that they brought, and I know that out there a lot of you brought up some attention in our channel saying that the BT200 was better than the BT400. So here we go. Today we're going to talk about all of that plus the boxes itself to see which one is going to be good for you or which one really wins our heart. I do not want to forget, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, click the subscribe button. Make sure you share this with your friends and family. Make sure you click the notification icon, select all in order to get notified once we have a new video out. And on top of that, if you have a question, drop them at the bottom of the video. We love to help you out ASAP. And don't forget to click the like button. It really motivates us to make these type of videos quickly with a little more detail every time. See, here's the physical look on both of them. They look identical when you even go around it. So there's not much that I could really mention that how these guys are been really created, because the case is exactly the same. The only difference that I can see is the bottom part of this is used a copper color, and in this one, which is the new one, is dark, and this is black, which is really good. Again, it really stands out when it is really dark. But here are some differences, as you can see. So on the top, it has this similar same design. There's nothing different on that. Now when you go on the one side, there is nothing here, but when you flip it in the back, exact same connections on both of them. And this way you can see that the USB Type-C are in the same location, your AV port is on the same location, your Gigabit LAN, also the HDMI connection, the optical audio, and also your power connections are exactly same spot. Now when you flip it in the other side, you have the USB 2.0, USB 3s are in the same location, and also you have a TF card reader on both of them are there. So this way you can put up to 128 gigabyte on the first one and 256 on the U5, so that way we'll read it up. Now when you go to the front, the LED is hidden right behind this little logo, and this is also going to use as your IR sensor, so that way when you use your remote as IR, it will really work. But it's not a button, don't push it. We do not want to damage that part. So these are the little differences when it comes to these two boxes, and then we will go through, hook it up, and we will test it with the old numbers and the new numbers so you can learn more. Alright, so here are the two remotes. Now I have to mention that with the 4900 you will get this remote called BT200, and with the U5, which is right over here, comes BT400. So there are huge differences with these two remotes. Number one is both of them are backlights, and we try to turn on both of them. They are very nicely done. Now this one is a little bit shorter because of consuming less battery, and this one you can see that it was staying a little bit longer. That's why it consumes more battery. But there are both Bluetooth and IR. When you look at both of them, they are very similar with the information. Now this one has a QR code that you can go to the website or using your phone so you can see the actual manual. For this one, to program the buttons which is on the top, it has a little line around it for your TV. It's a little bit different. But this one does not have that, because this only have one power button. This one has two, one for the box and one for your TV. Now this one does not have it because it's all going to be worked on your box with something called CEC. So this one do come with a little app, which we're going to cover in a couple of seconds, the full remote and how that is possible using this U5. Now we're going to put that aside and just take a look at a few things on this remote. Now this was really good, by the way, when they came out with it, but one thing I didn't really like is the navigation key. This one, the navigation key is a lot better, and this one had some little issues because when you were selecting certain things, it sounds like you were pressing two buttons at the same time. But it's a good remote. Now this one also have some buttons which this was missing. Something like when you really look, you have a search button. You also have categories, favorites. Now this one is all missing it. That's not the only thing. You also missing the mute button. This one do have a little mute button which is right over here, and this one does not, but they have really covered it once this was launched. Number one is that the sound with the box itself, you can turn it off by the smart remote app that came with the BT400. One more thing is to mute, you have to hold the volume button a little bit longer and automatically just goes to mute. One more thing is for the search inside of your Buzztv app, which I cannot show in this video. Once you go to press enter, so you can see the list and then the categories, on the top part of it you will see a search button which you can select and then go through to play with it, just like the old 3000. With this one, you just have a shortcut button, you just press it and it will go to search. So that's the only difference. But just to show these two, here you go, this is how it really looks. Now when you put it side by side, the BT200 is way bigger. Also, when you look on the designs, they are different on the side. Now when you go on the top part of it, you have the IR sensors, which is done really nicely on both of them. They are very wide. That means is just on the general direction of the box, this will really work. But do not go more than 6 feet because it will be a little bit lacking on use. And this is just a personal information that I'm just bringing up, and this is not from anywhere or any database that I have to mention. This is the bottom part. It looks really nice. And then going on the sides of it, this is how it really looks. Now I have to mention that both of these came with batteries inside of the box, and this one is coming with the Energizer battery. It's really nicely done again, and when you close it, nicely closed, and it has a little grip for the back part of it so you can hold and then you can put it down. And when you look on the BT200, it doesn't have that type of connectivity, but when you open the back really nicely, you can put batteries in. Now this one, I do not remember what I got it for when I got it with, but this is, again, it's really nicely done, and both of them do have the logos on the bottom. This one, because bottom part of it, which you can see it's a copper color, they also brought that on the remote, so that way you know this is BT200, and this one is BT400. Everything is done in white, so that's where you see everything in white, which really stands out. I really like this. Now if you ask me which remote I really like, I want this remote to be on this box because of so many shortcuts, but the navigation key, I really like it, just like the BT100. It's really different. Again, I'm keeping all of these because these are so good to play with. One more thing I have to mention, that because this one already have an app, it's really going to not consume a lot of battery using the Bluetooth. This one will, because the way that has been designed, that always have to be connected. And the BT100 was also similar design, but this one is an older model and this one is the newer model. So I really suggest that everybody that wants to use, still use it. If you have a problem with batteries, just use it as IR. It's really going to work. But with the BT400, always connected as Bluetooth, works perfectly. Now number one is going to be our 4900. Now with the 4900, the main look is the same as the U5, as you can see it right now. But here are some little differences. Number one is their settings. So once you go to this part, looks the same. Even connection of the internet, all of these parts looks exactly the same. Even when you go to server settings, will be the same. And by the way, I cannot show that part and also the Buzztv part of it in this channel, but if you do request, we have a lot of reviews out there for these boxes. You can view and you can learn those parts. But I have to mention that the Buzztv part, doesn't matter if it's server settings or Buzztv, it's exactly identical. We're not going to talk about that in this video. So let's go through and check everything else. Number one is when you are going to see the update, image changing, and also when you go on into something like Buzztv utility, it will be identical. There is nothing that they have done that will be different. The only thing that comes in mind that they have done different is going to be your remote settings. Now with the old one, we have a different settings, and this one is a little bit different. So that's why maybe that will be different for you, but nothing that I could think of that will be standing out for me. Exactly, it's the same when you go to Buzztv utility. Remember that the U5 comes with a BT400 remote, so that's the only thing that I'm always thinking that will have a little feature over here, except that it is the same. So we will get out of that. The next part that is when you go to the 4900, this is type of a setting that you will see. And yes, it will be a little bit different because on the U5, because it is OS 11, you will see your settings on the side as I'm showing you right now. And that is the only difference. But once you go around, all of the other options will be the same on that one. It's just going to be hidden inside of something like this. Right now it says advanced settings. Yes, you will find that on the list. Same with device preferences, it will be there too. And then if you go down, you will see your Buzztv utility right here. That one will have its own little tab that you can click on, and same with your apps. So that way, if you need to reset something, this is where you go to reset it, except that it's exactly the same. So once you go through, all right, enough said about it. Let's go through to some of the information that will be different. Something like when you go to all apps, and as an example, we have already run the Geekbench long time ago, and this is the number that we had received before. Now, as you can see, we have reviewed this on April 4th, 2021, and here's my single core and here's my multi-core. The only difference is now it is January 2023. So now let's do another test to see exactly what type of numbers we will be getting today. You can see the date, and once you select it, you can see that it didn't really change that much. It went down just one number on the single core, but on the multi-core it was exactly the same, and there's not much of a difference. Remember that this is almost 2 years ago that we have tested this. So this is about a year and about 10 months that we have tested this number one. So there is the truth that you can see on the XRS 4900. So on the 4900, we have a regular. So once you go to Google Play Store, this is the picture you will see. So it's very easy for you to go on the top. As long as you have an Air mouse, click on it and search for a game, or in this case for an app. So this way you can get your numbers really showing up in the bottom very easily, and that way you can select your app and click on install to install it. This is the XRS 4900. Now on U5 it makes it very simple, because now you're going to play with tvOS app, which makes it a lot simple and more compatible and very clean looking. Now what makes the BT400 very stand out is number one, you can see that it has its own little app. So if I have to press home and have to scroll down in the bottom, I will be able to select the Buzztv Smart Remote app and select it. And now once you're inside of it, if you're connected, it will tell you connected, what version you're running, how much battery you have. And then after that, you can also set up with your TV very easily by just selecting that. And if you want to turn on and off the backlit, you just have to select it. And now you can see that it says make the backlit go on or off. That's so simple. And another thing is that you can leave it off, so this way you do not have to worry about losing a lot of battery. One more thing is the color setup. So the color setup are these lights that you see right over here, which is also set up on the actual remote. That makes it very simple to play with. Now you can open apps with it. You can just select, and you can select any apps that is possible that is in your box itself, and that way you can play with it. The only problem will be is that you're going to lose the functionality of those buttons inside of Buzz Remote app. So something like the yellow is to favorite, or the red is to either record, or in this case going to be locking a channel. So that's not going to be really good if you want to play with that, except that you can also check for remote software update, which is right over here. And then the best part is that if you have a loop connection with the remote, very easily you can go inside of the pair Bluetooth remote and you will be able to pair it back. One more thing that it says in the bottom says HDMI CEC. So if you have a brand new TV and you want to connect your remote to it, this will really work perfectly. And one more part is called max volume setup. Some people always bring some questions to us that I cannot play with the sound on this box, and that's why I don't like this box. I gotta mention that this is a new technology, so you need to use this, go on the bottom, select your max volume, and make sure it says off. And that way you have your full volume control, just like the other Android boxes. Simply, except that if you have it on, that means is your volume will be on a maximum, and that means is you cannot use this for your volume going up and down. So you got to use your TV remote to make the volume go up and down. Simple as that. And this is BT400 and the smart remote app for U5. Now in conclusion, I really like U5. Why? Because it is OS 11. It has S905X4 chipset, which is a quad-core processor. It's very, very effective, and on top of that, it is very powerful for the meantime. I know Buzztv is working on another model to replace this, and I believe they're going towards of something to have 8GB to 16GB of DDR5 RAM, and on top of that, you're going to see a brand new .M2 hard drive in it. It's probably going to cost a fortune for the meantime, as much as we hear it, but this is going to be perfect for 2023. If you want to, still going to find some of the XRS 4900, which is running OS 9, which is going to be a really good 2021 model. Yes, you can probably find it on eBay, but for the U5, we're going to put a link with our little code so that way you can get some discount while ordering this. The remote is perfect. I know that they have another remote called BT250. Link is also going to be available at the bottom of this video so that way you can get some benefit out of that. And on top of that, this was our take. All the links going to be available in the bottom. I hope you guys like our video. If you do like it, click the like button, subscribe button on the top, comment in the bottom. Always remember to visit our own website, which is xctex.info. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and other social networking places like rumble.com, and thank you.